And we're live. Back again. Welcome back. I don't have any more phrases for welcoming people back. It's been a crazy couple of days. In so many different ways. It's been a crazy couple of days. I don't even know what to say anymore. Yesterday, Genesis was out the entire day. Just out the entire day. And teachers, when they tried to log on to their desktop computers, weren't really able to access everything that they were able to like nothing would like log on properly. It was nuts. People could still live stream from their Chromebooks, but it was just a crazy day. And then something happened in Washington, D.C. I don't know. But it was just a crazy day. I don't know. But that's where we're at. I'm going to get started soon. Give people an opportunity to get in. If any of you are like my wife, then you are probably still napping at the moment. We'll figure that out. Sorry, I just wanted to bring up the lives chat on my phone when I go over to my desk. So it's like Inception. Look at that. Look at the Inception that we got going on there. Inception. I don't know. I haven't had my coffee yet, so going a little nuts, but that's okay. We'll figure this out. Couple of reminders moving forward. Number one, there is no school on Monday for you guys. It's a professional development for the teachers. I guess we need professional development. But teachers got to go on Monday. But because there's no school for students on Monday, all the days are pushed back. So next week, I have you again on Tuesday, Thursday. And next week, Tuesday, Thursday, those are the last two class periods before midterms, or for you guys, final exams. So I do plan on reviewing next week, both days, all the information that we have covered over the course of this school year. I'm going to have a review for you guys. We're going to work through that the bulk of Tuesday, the bulk of Thursday. And then again, supposedly you're going to be back the week of the 25th for midterms. That remains to be seen. My son has been in quarantine from his school for the past 2 weeks, but they actually have plans on going back next week. Which I'm like, okay, that's weird, but that's what they plan on doing. Cool beans. So today, my plan for today was to wrap up linear regression. And to wrap up linear regression, I do have a quizzes that I'm going to put up here on the board in a little bit that I'm going to have all of you participate in. I'm just stalling for other people to kind of join the chat because, well, even if people do join late, they'll still be able to join the quizzes because the code will still be on the board. But if they're watching this video, let's say tomorrow, then that quizzes code would no longer be available. So that's kind of where we're at. For you guys that are in the chat right now, welcome. As they usually say, hey, throw a comment into the chat or into the live stream chat. So because they're asking me to take an attendance. Weird, I know. Man, yesterday was even weirder though, because like with Genesis down, they wanted us to take like a paper attendance. I'm like, all right, dude, you do your thing. So, oh, here are all my people showing up in the chat. What is that? I can't figure it. Oh, Sky, I was trying to look at your avatar. I don't know what that is. It's like a guy with a blue face. I don't know. Anyway. But like I said, I'm going to get this quizzes up and running in a few moments. You're going to need your graphing calculators in order to do certain problems. There are some problems that do require you to find the line of best fit based on data that they give you. Like they'll give you a chart of data, X values, Y values. You'll have to enter them in to the list stat edit. You'll enter them into the list, and then you'll have to run a linear regression. I'm going to strongly suggest that you have your notebooks for reference for this quizzes. This quizzes does not count against you. This is a practice. But I will have other things that I'm going to assign to you that will count as something probably before I leave here today. It's been such a strange week, to say the least. But anyway, let me get this thing loaded up so that those that are here can get logged in as quickly as possible. And then we'll kind of go from there. Let's see what we got. Ba-ba. Start a live one. Classic. There we go. Now, what I want to do is I want to turn off the shuffle questions. There we go. I wanted to turn off the shuffle questions. Yeah, I wanted to turn off the shuffle questions because I wanted them to go in a particular order. There we go. Now, all of you are suffering from the fate of not being able to see the code. So I am going to throw the code into two locations. I am going to type said code into the live chat. And I am going to write it on the board as well. 108,951. 108,951. Joinmyquiz.com. So please jump into there as quickly as you can. And like I said, have your calculator loaded and ready to go on your computer, along with your notebook if you need reference. My plan for today is to have you guys, number one, go through these problems and then be able to look at the results at the end, be able to look at the questions that gave us the most trouble so that we can review those together as a class. That is my main objective for today. So please make sure that you are joining this quizzes. That would be fantastic. I'll turn the volume down on my computer a little. There we go. Because when the names came in, the pops were really loud. It's just pretty funny. Yes. There we go. But like I said, the code is in the chat. If you haven't already done so, you can take your time with these questions. Some of these questions are going to take you like 10 seconds or less. Some of these questions are going to take you a few minutes because you're going to have to enter in some data and then answer a certain question in order to get the thing done. Again, go to your notes, reviewing the steps that we take or that we've taken to do linear regression. That would be great. I only got 3 people in the quizzes, but I got 6 people in the chat. What's going on there? People doing their thing. Such a weirdness. There people go. I got 4 people now. There we go. Haha. I'm going to give them another minute, and then I'm going to get this thing started. Because like I said, if you're watching this video live, you get to participate in the quizzes. If you're not watching it live, unfortunately, you're going to be sitting and watching a screen for a little bit. But we'll get this thing done. Hola. Join the quizzes. Remember, have the notebook ready just because you may need to reference something. Have that calculator ready to go, raring and ready to go. Take your time with some of these questions. Don't try to rush. And we will review the problems that we need to review once this thing is over. Now, like I said, for those of you in the chat right now, okay. For those of you in the chat right now, if you have not joined, that code will be at the top of the screen once I click start or after the game gets started. Also, the code is in the chat, just in case you can't see it from where you're at. Haha, I was a poet that wasn't aware of it. Okay, I'm gonna click start, and we're gonna get going with this. Remember, if you're in the chat and you haven't joined yet, please make sure that you join. That code is still good. I'm just going to give you guys a few more minutes, and then I would like to review some of these questions with you. I mean, definitely try to get as many done as you can. See, I was going to end it like a minute ago or so, but like that class accuracy number kept going up, and I wanted to see how high it would go. You guys got it over 70% so far. All right. I am going to, in a moment, click the end button, just because I do have to get moving with reviewing some of these questions. I do appreciate the attempt on going through the problems. What's that? That was weird. That was a weird noise. Okay, cool. All right, so let me click end. Click. Haha. And what I would like to do, and again, I do have the chat open on my phone right here. But what I would like to do is I would like to look over some of these questions. Now, as you can, you can kind of see a little bit on the screen right now. The different colors of yellow and green and red. And I would like to attempt the yellow questions and the red question, obviously. Let me sort by accuracy. There we go. Sorted by accuracy. Awesome. Sweet. So some of these questions you can't really see terribly well. So let me see. Will it actually let me see this one pretty well? Yeah, it's not too bad. Okay. So this question, I'm going to come up to the board and draw something. Just so we're all on the same page with this. This question asked for you to describe the correlation. Now you can kind of see it a little bit right there, but I am going to fill it in a little bit larger over here. I'm going to kind of sketch out what the points were. It's like something like that, is what the scatter plot looked like. Now, it's definitely a negative correlation. And that's a given. But it is not very strong. It's negative because this thing is sloping downward. Remember, correlation can either be positive or negative depending on the slope of the line of best fit. So since this thing is sloping downward, it has a negative correlation, but these points are somewhat spread out. In fact, there's a bit of a gap right here in the middle. I can't say that this one is very strong. If it were to be a bit stronger, then those points would be more closely clustered around that line of best fit, if the line of best fit were to be drawn. Let's take a look at the next one. Nice. The scatter plot below shows the number of books read by students in Mrs. Hall's English class and their final grades. Which statement represents the best description about the line of best fit? Now, they didn't draw a line of best fit on this scatter plot, but we could approximate where that line of best fit would actually take place. Something like that. definitely positive. But when you describe a correlation in the context of the problem, you have to use the labels that are on the sides of the graph. Now, in this case, on the x-axis, it is the number of books read. And on the y-axis, it is the grade that they got in that English class. And it appears, and again, I'm using kind of fluffy language here, but it appears that as the number of books that you read increase, the grade in the class increases, which the more books students read, the higher their English grade. Yeah, that is best summarized by this particular line of best fit. Let's see what else we got here. Click. What letter do we use to represent correlation? That's just the definition that I gave you guys. It's R. When you run correlation in your calculator and you have your diagnostics turned on, then it will spit out the R value. And that is what we use to determine the strength of the correlation. Come on, you. I thought I ordered you guys by... Yeah, there we go. Question 2. Excellent. It says the annual profits for a company are given in the following table, where X represents the number of years since 1992 and Y represents the profits. Write out the equation. Okay, so this is good to kind of go through. And then they do ask you a question using the equation, estimate the year in which the profits would reach $378,000. Okay, so I'm going to flip over to my calculator. Come on, calculator. Come on, calculator. I got you. I mean, sometimes these questions can take a long time. But let me walk you guys through what is needed for this problem. Stat edit will take you to L1 and L2. I'm going to enter in my data, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to enter in my Y values, 155, 127, 199, 173, 246. Okay. I have all of my data entered into L1 and L2. They want the line of best fit, and then using that line of best fit, they want you to estimate, hold on, what year it would happen to get $378,000. Okay, let's see what happens. If I'm going to run that linear regression, I got to hit Stat, tab over to Calc, go down to LinReg. Now, mind you, I'm not even looking at the scatter plot because the problem doesn't require me to look at the scatter plot. I'm just going to calculate a line of best fit here. Now, they gave me this number, 22.8 and 134.4. 22.8 being my slope, 134.4 being my y-intercept. Okay, well, that would obviously be my equation. 22.8. I already lost it. Hold on. I should have written those down. LinReg, calculate. Okay, let me write these down so that I have them. 22.8 and 134.4. There we go. And now the equation that would be set up, keep in mind, would be y equals 22.8x plus 134.4. Now they want me to figure out what year I will get $378,000. I'm going to have to bring up this thing just to show you precisely what needs to be written. Because verbalizing it is one thing, writing it is another. The equation that they gave me, or that I got from that line of best fit, was this. And they wanted me to figure out when we get a profit of 300, come on you, 78,000. Okay. Because X represents the year and Y represents the thousands of dollars, this is what needs to be set up in order to solve this problem. You can subtract 134.4. You can divide by 22.8. Let's see. 243.6 equals 22.8x divided by 22.8 gets me an x that is approximately 10.68. Now, 10.68 is not my answer. I'm going to go back to the question in a moment. They want to know, estimate the year. Well, keep in mind that years on this thing are years since 1992. And since they are years since 1992, I'm going to take that answer of 10.68 and change, and I'm going to add it to 1992. 2002 and change. Well, they said specifically in the question, round all coefficients to nearest hundredth, estimate the year, blah, 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 blah. Well, it would happen more than halfway through 2002, which puts it in 2003. Oh, you did it the long way. Oh, I'm sorry about that. That's not always the best choice, doing it the long way. I prefer the easy way, in my opinion. Here we go. A person travels by car. They record their miles driven in a data table. Calculate the linear regression. I'll go through this again. So let me clear out my calculator. Now, you guys don't have to worry about clearing them out. If you just close them and reopen them, then everything's cleared. Stat edit, 0 through 6. Here we go. And 0, 55, 120. 188, 252. 307, 366. Now, just for the sake of argument, I'm also going to turn on my diagnostics. And I'm also, oh, you got the same answer. That's good, though, Absolutely. I mean, as long as you get to the same answer. But I'm going to turn my diagnostics on, and I'm actually going to create the scatter plot as well for this problem. Even though the problem didn't ask me to, I just want to do it for the sake of review, because that's very important in this context. So to turn your diagnostics on, second, 0. If you go down to D, which you can either, it's alpha locked on D, or you just kind of scroll till you get to diagnostics on. If you just hit enter and enter for it to say done, then your diagnostics are on. And now when we run this linear regression, it will give me an R value. The R value is your correlation coefficient. It indicates the strength of the linear association. Boom. Look at that R value. Now remember, R values can only be measured between -1 and +1. -1 and +1 being the strongest. This is a very strong R value. Very strong R value. I don't know what the whole thing looks like, but we'll look at that in a moment. Let me write down this equation, though. Y equals 61.93x minus 1.79 is what it rounds to. Chapow. And you can see it right there. The green choice is the one that they wanted. Got to be careful with how you write that equation. Let's take a look at the scatter plot. Again, to look at a scatter plot, you got to hit second, Y equals. You got to turn one of those plots on. Everything else should be set up normally for you, and you can zoom 9 it in order to resize the window. Just for the fun, I'm going to put my equation in my Y equals key. 61, 61.93 x minus 1.79. I just wanted to look at it. Graph. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's not a perfect straight line. It is not a perfect straight line, but this thing is pretty darn close. And you can tell that by the R value. The R value is indicating the strength of the linear association. And all of these data points are very closely clustered around that line of best fit, to the point where when I run this linear regression, again, you get that R value of 0.9995. That is as strong as you can get other than 1 itself. A lot of these questions revolved around this person traveling by car, but a lot of them were interpretation as well. Like this one. They wanted you to now use that equation to predict how far this person will travel after 10 hours of driving. Well, plug in a 10. And obviously, most of you got that one right, so no big deal there. Same thing for this one. Just a matter of plugging it into the appropriate location. This one wanted you to get the line of best fit again. I wanted to get to one of the interpretation questions. There it is. There's a good interpretation question. So they have a table that represents distance in miles versus the cost of an airplane. This is number 11. Or cost of a plane ticket, airplane. What does the slope mean in the regression equation? Now, most of you got this one right, but again, I just wanted to kind of point this out. 0.136 change of y over change of x. It's the change of cost over the change of miles. If it's 0.136, that means, well, for every additional mile flown, you pay an additional, 13 cents and change, really 14 cents if it rounds up. I love these kinds of problems, these interpretational problems. Same thing with this one. What does the y-intercept mean? Well, the y-intercept is 1.9, and the only way you get that y-intercept is if you plug a 0 in for t, meaning 0 toppings. So 0 toppings, the burger would cost $1.90. Every additional topping is $1.40. Yes. I verbalized this a lot, but we didn't spend a ton of time on it. Basically, if you attempt to make any type of regression prediction outside of the given data points, it is considered to be extrapolation. Now, extrapolation is not necessarily a terrible thing. People extrapolate all the time, especially with data. But it should be taken with a whole bunch of caution. Because if you're extrapolating outside of the given data set, you're kind of in no man's land at that point. No one knows what's going to happen into the future. You could extrapolate to the year 3000, but things can change. Happens all the time. When I was, I do believe in the concepts of climate change. But when I was in elementary school in the 90s, we were basically told, the world's going to be underwater by the year, 2015. And we're like, oh, snap, we better get working on that. Well, nothing's really changed much, but 2015, the whole world's not underwater. In fact, it's 6 years later. Maybe we're metaphorically underwater. That's too deep. No pun intended. Anyway, I'm going to get off my high horse. Oh, goodness gracious. So, here's what we're going to do. I am going to assign you something before I leave here today. Just getting a tiny bit more practice with linear regression. Next week, I have you Tuesday, Thursday, and we are going to be reviewing everything for our final exam. We're almost there. It's going to be great. For me, not for you. I don't know. But, If you do have any questions, please make sure you're emailing me. I am going to be ending class in a few moments. If you haven't commented in the chat, please make sure that you do so. Again, they are asking me to take some form of attendance, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'll make a form of attendance. But yeah, I'm going to sign off in a moment. I don't know. Some of y'all are just still waking up. I feel like I'm still waking up. But anyway, everyone have a great day. Take your stuff with you as you move on to second period. Have fun. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. Get out. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.